Welcome, Kate Crossland. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me today on my podcast. It's really great to have you here. How you
Thank
doing? All
you.
right?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Good
Good.
morning. I think it's still morning.
Good. I'm really excited to talk to you today because we've got so many topics that we can go with. But what I really wanted to do was just focus it down maybe, and let's start with reflexology. So I know you as many things. One of them being a reflexologist, or is it reflexologist? Which is it? A
Reflexologist. Yes.
reflexologist. Fabulous. So I've had some treatments from you, and I know a little bit about reflexology and I've experienced the benefits. So I just wanted to, yeah, open the space up for you to talk about what you do, the benefits of reflexology. What is reflexology? I suppose is a big question. There's a lot of people out there don't really know what it is, do they? So, and what it can offer. So, yeah, tell us a bit about what it is and what you do.
Lovely. Thank you. So I have been working as a reflexologist for a year next week, actually. My little business will be coming up to its 1 year anniversary next week. So most people know that reflexology has got something to do with feet. Um, and yes, that's the case. So it's beautiful therapy. One of the reasons I trained was because it's so lovely to receive. So it's working with the soles of the feet, and the whole body's represented on the foot. So it's working different points on the feet, very gentle treatment techniques, different um, movements with my hands on the feet. And the whole point of reflexology is to help bring the body into balance. So one of the things I love about it is that it's not bringing anything new in. It's not trying to do anything the body doesn't want to do. It's just creating the space for the body to come back to its natural state of balance. So the body always wants to be balanced anyway. And then it might be our thinking, our patterns, our movements, what we eat and drink, what we do with our time, a state of stress that kind of knocks the body out of balance, and that can potentially bring in illness or sickness that could be held in the body. And reflexology is aiming to help the body come back to that natural state of balance.
Right.
So there are different kind of ways that it works, and there are lots of different theories as well, as there are with a lot of these kind of holistic therapies. Um, it's working the different points on the feet to work the actual points on the body that these correspond to. But for me, the really healing element is all about relaxation. So one of the reasons I found it so lovely is I often find it quite difficult to relax, but reflexology would put me into this state quite easily of feeling very relaxed. And when the body's relaxed, when we're in what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, so the rest and digest phase, the phase where the body is relaxed. It's not running away from a saber-toothed tiger. It's ready to relax, and reflexology helps to get the body into that state. And that's where all the healing happens. That's where all the good things happen, the restoration, the recharging, the resetting. It's where we can digest our food. It's where our cells can repair themselves. Any muscle tears can be healed and restored because that healing only happens in that relaxed state. If we're stressed, if we're fight or flight, if we're worried about things and anxious, the message the body's getting isn't relax, reset, repair. It's fight or flight, or there's something to be scared of. You've got to be ready to do something. So the message from reflexology is you're safe, you're held, this is a safe space. You can do that repairing and recharging and resetting.
Yeah.
So I think one of the most wonderful things that I can hear when I'm giving a treatment is a snore or a tummy rumble,
Mm,
because it says I've relaxed. It means the body's actually doing what it needs to be doing.
mm.
Um, it's creating the space for that body to just do that natural healing.
Yeah.
And and often people have to actually book in for a treatment to give themselves that sacred time, that reserve time to allow themselves to relax, to allow themselves to have that space. You could say, I'm going to spend 50 minutes at home relaxing, but it's a lot harder to fit in, to find that time to give yourself permission, I suppose, to
Mm.
do that.
Yeah, often
Um,
there's something
yeah,
far more pressing that we need to get on with, like the washing or the dishes or the hoovering. Yeah, it's easy to get
yeah,
distracted and not give ourselves that time, is it? So yeah,
yeah. Which is ironic because that is the stress state that we're continuing to
yeah,
perpetuate
yeah,
by saying, "Well, I've got to do this first, and then I can relax." So we're telling our bodies, "You can't heal yet. I've just got to do this, and then this, and then this." And I'm very much talking from experience. I recognize these kind of different states in myself, and just noticing it in people and in the atmosphere and the environment, and driving around and picking up on this extraordinary busyness and rush and pressure and
mm,
stress that I experience, in road users. There's a real rush and pressure, and things like consideration very quickly go out of the window because we're in this must, go, go, go state.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what better way to relax than to let somebody loose on your feet? I mean, I'm a real fan of having my feet played with anyway. I've always really enjoyed the physical contact with my feet. I find it instantly takes me down a level. So when you've done reflexology on me, it's even deeper, and I find myself really sinking into that deep state. And it's interesting to talk about the digestive system because yeah, I can speak for that. When you've treated me, I often find that I become quite hyper aware actually of my stomach. And often afterwards I'm quite hungry, so much like my digestive system has
Mm,
sort of activated almost, or I've become
yeah,
aware that it's activated.
yeah. And
So
that's a wonderful sign. That's what we want. Because when we're stressed, the blood isn't going to our digestive system, it's
mm,
going to our muscles to have us ready to do something.
yeah.
So for that tummy to start gurgling and digesting and being busy,
Mm,
it means it's working because the body's going, I can relax, I can digest. And this is why often things like IBS and gut issues are linked with anxiety, are linked with stress.
mm,
Because if we're in a state of stress, the body doesn't want to be digesting. It doesn't want to be nicely processing and absorbing the nutrients we're putting into it.
no.
And that's when we end up reaching for things that are going to give us a quick kick of energy or something that feels like it's satisfying in that moment and easy to digest and sugary but it's not actually nutritious for our bodies because if you have a nice heavy meal, you're not going to feel like you've got the energy to keep rushing around. So it's a real mix of messages for the body.
Mm,
Um, and with feet, people often say to me, "Why on earth feet? What a funny thing to want to do. How do you feel about touching people's feet?" Um, and I suppose because I've worked in the NHS for a few years, so I've done a lot of work with people as an occupational therapist, maybe getting them back to showering or bathing or that kind of thing. So there's a real there's a real humility to it, and there's a real privilege in being involved with somebody in such a kind of intimate space. And I find that the same with feet. So it is very grounding, both to treat and to receive, because we're literally working on the part of the body that touches the ground, that
mm,
connects us with the earth, and that's very often neglected. We have this way of thinking feet are disgusting because
mm,
all they're all the way down there, but actually they they connect us to the earth. They're our roots. They're our way of linking to the earth. They're the deepest, most kind of primal thing that connects us with the earth. And they do so much. They help us to balance, they help us to walk, they support us, they take all our weight. That's an extraordinary angle for our entire lives while we're standing. They walk miles and miles and miles with us, or they run miles and miles with us. Um, they're extraordinary things, and if they should be worshipped, not
Yeah,
um
absolutely. They do take a lot from us, don't they?
yeah,
When you look at it from that perspective, they yeah, especially people that work on their feet. I used to do
yeah,
hairdressing many years ago, and I was stood, 6 days a week. I was stood
yeah,
all day, and yeah, to think about that from the perspective of the feet, that's pretty full on, isn't it? Poor little things.
yeah, yeah. And I think
Yeah.
actually going for a reflexology treatment is a real way of showing gratitude and appreciation for the feet.
Mm,
Often people will arrive and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't shaved my legs," or my
mm,
toenails aren't very nice at the moment," and it doesn't matter. And it
no.
might be the feet might be the vessel, but you're connecting through the whole body. That's the wonder of these holistic therapies. I
Mm,
might notice crunchy shoulder because of the shoulder area on the foot. There is this magic, witchcraft, sorcery of picking up on what the story that might be going on in the body is through the foot, through the message of the foot.
yeah, yeah. I remember when you were working on me, did I have I think I cleared my throat or had a cough or had something going on here, didn't I, when you were working on that relative part of the foot?
Yeah,
And you said after the treatment, you coughed and you had some kind of chest reaction when you were
yeah,
pushing on the pressure points. So I
yeah.
think it really is fascinating, isn't it? So those energy lines, I mean, what sort of which what's the word I'm looking for? Which branch of medicine, I suppose, energetic medicine is reflexology rooted in? Have you any ideas of where it came from? Is it the Chinese energy lines, the meridians? Where's it come from? Have you got any ideas?
Not entirely sure.
No.
There's no, um, there's not a really distinct lineage. There's lots of tales and stories and possible very old pictures. There's an Egyptian picture of what might be reflexology going on, but it's quite
Okay.
hard to tell. There's lots of different elements to it,
Mm.
and although reflexology is one discipline, I suppose, there are so many branches within it.
Okay.
Um, so something I always try and say to new clients is reflexologists all work very differently. I'm not going to be offended if this isn't a treatment that you particularly enjoy. It doesn't mean you don't like reflexology. It might mean there's somebody else that you'd be better working with, because some people really enjoy an incredibly firm touch, almost like a sports massage, where you're really digging in and finding a sore point or a pressure point almost and kind of working it out like you would get if you went for a sports massage. And that's not how I work. My training and the way I work is incredibly gentle, partly as joint protection because it's quite hard work on the hands giving the reflexology. Partly because somebody's more likely to go into a relaxed state if it's a very gentle
Mm.
touch. And partly for me and through my training, it doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be forced. It doesn't need to be tough. And with fascia and with the way the body works and the way the body is held, if you push, the body will push back. If you try and exert something on it that it's not ready to receive or that it doesn't feel is helpful to it, it's not going to take that. It's going to defend itself or it's going to push back or it's going to, yeah, create a defense.
Yeah,
So you
resistance.
can't,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. You can't force healing on something. It's got to take what it wants to take. Um,
Yeah.
and I pick up a lot more when I'm working if it's very gentle. And it
Mm.
might be so gentle, it might be that it's almost an indeterminate touch at times. But that doesn't, less can be more. That can
Absolutely.
be incredibly powerful. You can even work off the foot, so you're working energetically
Mm.
rather than on the foot.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's lots of different elements. There's a lot of Eastern philosophy, and there's a lot of reflexologists that work that have incredible knowledge about the meridians, and that's how they work.
Mm.
You can specialize in so many different. types of reflexology, branches of reflexology.
Okay.
But one thing that I've enjoyed so much is just finding out who I am as a reflexologist, how
Mm.
I like to work.
Your
Um,
style. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what's so nice for me about working from home and creating my space, my treatment room, my business. There's nobody to run ideas past, which at times can feel a bit isolating, but equally it's very empowering to just make
Mm.
those decisions and act on them.
Yeah. So you can travel to your customers, can't you? And or your customers can come to you. You give those both
Yes.
options, don't you? So
Yep,
you're
absolutely.
hypermobile.
Hypermobile in some joints, yes. Yeah,
Good
so I
stuff.
do offer mobile reflexology because
Mm.
my NHS work is all over West Hertfordshire. It's quite a treat for the reflexology for clients to come to me.
Yeah.
So the majority, probably 90% of my client work is clients coming to me. I'm working from my home studio, but equally I will do mobile and visit them. So I do one day a month down in London, which is quite nice, and then people come to one
Mm.
treatment base for the day in London.
Mm. So you've got a vast awareness of anatomy from speaking to you, and you've worked. Do you want to talk a bit about where that knowledge comes from, and what other work you've done that ties into and helps with the reflexology? What else do you bring to the reflexology?
Vast awareness of anatomy.
Yeah, well,
That's a lot to live up
from
to.
from our conversations, I think, wow, she knows all the things and how they move and what they do.
I guess a lot of it is kind of functional
Yeah,
anatomy.
yeah.
Um, so for the last 11 years, I've been working in the NHS as an occupational therapist in stroke rehab. So I see people who've had a stroke for about for 6 weeks after their stroke to get them back to doing their activities. Occupational therapy is very much about function. So it's looking at how people are doing the things that are really important to them, what's meaningful to them in their home environment, and getting them back
Mm,
to that. So the anatomy is very much around what do they need to move, or what movements do they need to be able to make themselves a cup of tea, or
mm.
pat their dog, or pick up their dog's poo is something I've actually practiced with people more than I thought I would when I did my
Okay,
degree.
interesting. Well, it's a practicality, isn't it? It's if you've got the
Yeah,
dog, you need to do that. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. If that's companionship for you, it's independence because you want to walk your dog,
Yeah.
and that's a necessary part of it,
Mm,
then that's a really important part of somebody's treatment plan to get them back to
sure,
doing that. That
sure.
requires balance and perception and coordination and a lot of different skills. So it's looking at anatomically at what movements they functionally might need to work on to get them back to
Mm,
doing that. So that was a really nice kind of knowledge base to have before doing the
yeah,
reflexology.
sure.
Um, the reflexology, I guess what's tricky about working holistically is you've got to have a holistic knowledge of the body. So you're not learning about the feet, you're learning about the whole body. So in reflexology, we are working the musculoskeletal system, the nervous system, the
Mm,
endocrine system, the urinary system, all the different systems within the body through
mm,
the foot. So
yeah,
you've got to be able to understand basics of all of those systems because you're working with all of them. So it's understanding if there's a particular finding, what that might link to, how the systems link with each other and work with each other. Um, and then what's really fascinating and doesn't come into the kind of healthcare degree training is the emotional anatomy
mm,
side of things, which is very new to me in the last couple of years and absolutely fascinating and definitely a direction that I would like to progress in and
yeah.
look further in. So I suppose the basics started coming up for me in reflexology when we looked at the points from an emotional point of view, because If there's a finding in the lungs, yes, it might relate to somebody's respiratory history, it might relate to chest infections, it also might relate to something like grief,
Mm,
because grief tends to be stored in the lungs. If we're anxious, if we're worried, if we're sad, if we're trying to keep things in, we might be breathing very shallowly. We might be not using our diaphragm properly. And this links in with singing as well,
yeah.
which you know. And so a finding in the lungs through the foot, if you see what I mean, actually might be linked to grief and sadness and some really old memories there.
Mm,
So it's so holistic that you need to be aware of somebody's emotional history and their resilience and their coping mechanisms and where they're at from a mental health point of view,
mm,
because all of the emotions can be stored in the body.
mm.
It's mind, body, spirit stuff,
It's
and
hot.
that's what I found so fascinating.
Yeah, it's those layers, isn't it? And even beyond up to the spiritual realms for myself. I know, um, I've worked with astrology and the somatic sort of elements of emotions and feelings in the body, and I've done a lot of that over the years. And I know, again, going back to when you gave me treatment, I tend to get deep visions and very dreamlike scenarios in my head whilst I'm receiving treatment. Now that the feet in astrology relate to the dream world. It's Pisces. It's about the dream. It's about the boundaryless realms. It's where we meet God. It's where we meet our Creator, and anything's possible. The creative realms. So I think there's so many layers, aren't there, to healing, to healing modalities. It's endless. The possibilities are endless. It's quite exciting, isn't it?
Mm, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's lovely working with such a spectrum of people
Mm.
that somebody as yourself might be coming at it from that extraordinarily deep dream world point of view,
Mm.
and where you're open to all of that. To the other end of the spectrum, somebody's got some money left at the end of the month and they'd really like a nice foot massage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just want to treat themselves. And they don't, I was going to say, they don't want the healing. It's the body will take what it wants to take and what
Yes.
it needs to take. But they don't want that depth in terms of the consultation. They just want to leave all that at the door and just have that treatment as a one-off.
Yeah.
And and that's lovely to be able to gauge those different needs, but just the way you're working with somebody, and it
Mm.
will be so different from client to client.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think in terms of healing modalities, I feel that it's like you said, it seems to be rising awareness. It's right, it's raising in our awareness that there's so much linked to emotional healing, emotion trapped in the body, and we're really starting to realize that this is a thing that we
Mm.
can address and we can find remedy for. So I think even physical massage sometimes, I mean, physical massage and the rest of our body, we can tap into and release certain emotions as well. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It's really interesting seeing the
Mm.
evolution of somatic understanding, as for me it is anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
so have you always been kind of drawn to wanting to help heal people? Seems your choice in careers, I say, because you have many. Is it
Oh,
something you're really drawn to? How do you feel? Do you feel like you have always wanted to do this?
that's a really interesting question, and not something that I've thought about specifically.
Mm,
Um, I remember watching Casualty when I was a young-ish child and really enjoying it and
okay.
thinking that would be quite a cool place to work. Um, I suppose with healing, with the journey of life, that there's often this spiral that's referred to, isn't there? where,
Yeah.
healing and living in life and isn't linear, but we go
Mm.
through these patterns
Yeah.
of feeling like we've worked everything out and then
We
kind of
meet
peeling
it
away the
again.
next layer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And thinking, no, I'm doing this all wrong. I've got it all. I'm worse than I ever was before in terms of that search for identity and who you are and what makes you you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what feels good for you and what doesn't feel good for you. And it's hard, it's hard to say whether that initially that desire or that way of falling into working with people came originally as a need to please people. That was very
Yeah.
much a people pleasing
Yeah.
start to the journey.
Yeah.
So I don't think I don't think I searched in myself for whether that was what I wanted to do or whether it made me feel good
Mm.
because of the recognition of being able to please people made me feel good about
Mm.
myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I kind of fell into that because that felt the natural thing to do. I must be good. I must be good with people because making them feel better makes me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a
Um,
compass, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, like a compass.
yeah. And if I'm good at it, then clearly it's what I'm meant to do.
Mm. Mm.
And as time goes on, and as I'm experimenting and changing and trying different things and working predominantly in an environment that's incredibly busy and stressful,
Mm.
um, and I perhaps have a little bit more resistance to that environment or an awareness of the stress that it brings up in me. And I look at different things and kind of question the balance of actually why I'm doing these
Mm.
things. What what's it bringing me, and is it genuinely healing? When I give a reflexology treatment, there's this moment where the person in front of me and the body relax and they're not fighting anymore. They're not resisting anything. They're just open to receiving that treatment. And I find that incredibly relaxing myself. And I can feel my nervous system exhale in relief. And it's really
Yeah.
lovely to provide that. And I think that's quite a new experience for me in the last couple of years of experiencing going to work and actually feeling a relaxation,
Mm.
kind of a benefit from it, rather than a striving and a performing and an outcome. Um, so that's been fascinating and also a little bit discomforting because it makes me start to question things um, and wonder, well, where I'm sitting at the moment, is this the best thing for me? What do I want the future to look like?
Mm.
Which little bits that I've never questioned, I've always assumed they would be part of a normal life for me, do I want to start letting go of?
Mm. So
Um,
you're on a journey yourself of healing and self-understanding, aren't
yeah,
you? And you think
absolutely.
your work helps you with that, do you think? It helps you move along that journey,
Yeah,
along that
absolutely.
path.
And when you're doing that kind of work, the people who are coming to you, the people who you're attracting, will mirror the things that are coming up for you, whether that's things that need to grow, things that need challenging, they are much more in sync with where you're at, and you start to notice that.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always been a desire to work with people,
Mm.
reflect on things, and saying help people feels a little bit simplistic. Hear people,
Here. Mm.
hmm,
Mm.
yeah, be able to, I guess, hold space for people and hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing you know, you're incredibly compassionate and you have an ability to hold space very strongly with great strength. Um, do you find though that you struggle with absorbing too much energy? If you're working with people a lot, you must be absorbing a lot. How do you, what are your processes to keep yourself uh sort of I don't want to
Well,
use I don't want to use the word protected because it's a very negative word, but yes, well, and keep your own energy bubble safe and uninfiltrated, shall we say?
mm, yeah, yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, having done the reflexology training and done a few CPD courses since on kind of clearing and grounding
Mm,
and energy protection, using the protection word, um, I do find it fascinating that that was something that was never featured or talked about or acknowledged in the healthcare
mm,
side of training, which is really interesting. And I think I've always used strategies unconsciously, actually, to whether it was distance myself for people or from people or unconsciously try and create some protection around me. And it's much more of a conscious process these days. Um, whether that's just mentally trying to clear the environment. I mean, my in my NHS job, because I'm based in the community, there's a lot of driving between people I'm seeing in the car,
mm,
which has always been my reset time. It's my way of physically moving from one environment to the next and leaving whatever I need to leave behind. But
mm.
also, I don't think I realized it until I started taking students and giving them the lift in the car and realizing that I couldn't put on music and sing incredibly loudly in the car.
That was yeah,
That's a
your let off.
huge,
Yeah.
absolutely. That was my way of coming back to me,
Right.
driving around the countryside, putting on whatever music I needed to at that point and singing it really loudly. And then finding I couldn't do that when I had a student in the
Mm,
passenger seat. That didn't enable me to kind of switch from person to person and reset myself as easily. So nature
mm.
is a huge, huge thing. Being in the woods, being up at Ashridge at 5 o'clock in the morning, and just being me in nature and no other people. That's always been a massively important thing for me.
Yeah, yeah. Nature can absorb that for us, can't it? It can really take it off us, I think, or we can give it to nature, all that stress
Yeah,
that we carry.
yeah, and it puts things in perspective.
Mm,
It's a very good way of reminding me that that thing that I'm worrying about that feels like the most significant thing in the world at 2 o'clock in the morning really doesn't matter.
mm,
Really can wait until later.
yeah,
And really, in the if you're in a wood looking up, it gives you a sense of perspective, the same way as looking up at the stars.
yeah,
Reminds you how tiny you are, and that's not a bad thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, nature's wonderful for that. Nature's amazing. Yeah, so in terms of what else you wanted to cover, well, I wanted to cover as well with you, if how much do you want to talk about other healing modalities that you offer? What would you like
Yeah.
to tell
So
us about anything else you offer?
um, it's a portfolio career, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah. You got so many strings to your bow. It's
And
great.
and that's so wonderful because they're, they're all things that are healing for me or significant for me or
Mm,
have always been something that I've done. And it's never occurred to me to go into a career in that area, but they're things that are really important. Um, and something that I started working with 5 years ago, I think now, is an Amazonian medicine from a frog called Kambo.
hmm
that I've been working with for a few years, which is an extraordinary medicine. And over the last year, since, no, 18 months since I've been working in reflexology, I've been combining the Kambo and the reflexology, and created something called Kambology. I do love mixing words together,
Mm.
which is a way of enhancing the reflexology experience with a microdose of this plant medicine called Kambo. Yeah. And in
Oh,
fact, you've experienced it.
I have, yes. I have had a Cambology session, which I found very useful. I'm not up for doing the whole Cambo experience full on for personal reasons, but I was willing to try the microdose, and yeah, I found it very useful. Shifted a lot for me, and
Mm,
I would recommend that. I think it was again, like we say, with that reflexology, I was able to really sink down into such a deep, relaxing space. And then with the addition of the microdose of the Cambo, emotions started to move and shift for me. And I was in such a relaxed, safe space that I was able to be with those emotions and explore them. And um, it felt safe to do so. Often I think, you know, um, emotional, subconscious, deep emotional work can be quite frightening for a lot of people. So to be able to do it in a space that's very, very safe and held, I think the physical contact that I had with yourself through the feet
mm,
made me feel very grounded and safe. So it's absolutely something that's worth pursuing if people are interested in that, definitely. But
mm.
for days after, I got sort of waves of bits come up of emotional stuff come up that needed releasing. So, but it was gentle. It was gentle, and I'm all into gentleness. So, yeah, it was really good. Are you getting good results with your with your other clients?
Yes, yeah, and thank you for that feedback.
Mm,
That's lovely.
yeah.
Um, I think gentleness is definitely the most important
Mm,
word really with that. Um, I don't know how much listeners might have heard of Kambo, um,
yes. Tell
but
us a bit
it's
about
it's
it.
a
Yeah.
it's a very powerful medicine, and the traditional in the UK, I shall say, way of working with it is in ceremony and involves purging. And people might have an idea of what that might look like, but it's physically a difficult process, something that's hard to sit with, and it has extraordinary benefits. And very, very courageous people come and sit with Kambo. The idea of the Kambology was very much, it's not an introduction to the medicine, but it's for people who maybe can't sit, for health reasons, or don't don't feel that it would be a helpful thing for their body or their nervous system to experience at that point. Um, so it is a very, very, very tiny dose, with a reflexology treatment, and it's about sinking into that experience.
Mm.
So I recently, did a Cambology treatment with a lady, and it was outside under the full moon. So it was really powerful. It was really lovely. Outdoors is one of my favorite places to be, and it was a fairly magical evening. And she gave some very, very wonderful feedback about how relaxing it was. And there was a lot around safety, around trust,
Mm.
around feeling able to let go of things, or to let the medicine do its work and experience its power in that moment,
Yeah.
which is really wonderful. Because, as you say, doing that digging,
Mm.
uncovering things that maybe have been covered up for a very long time or we're not aware of, is scary,
Can be
uncomfortable,
terrifying, can't it?
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and feeling feeling unable to hold space for yourself, if those kind of things come up, is going to make it feel unmanageable.
Mm,
And if things feel unmanageable, we then clamp down with all of those kind of coping strategies and defense mechanisms that
mm,
we've always used.
yeah.
Put the lid back on the tin.
Open the tin of biscuits.
Yeah, exactly. Open a different tin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of, and actually, I think that's a thread between the reflexology, the occupational therapy, and the Kambo.
Mm,
There's a real desire. Um, there's a creation of empowerment in people.
mm,
That's something that I have always aimed to do, probably because that's something that I've struggled with myself a
mm,
lot, to feel that kind of self-efficacy, that not control, but that ability to follow through, or that feeling of I can do this, that certainty, that
yeah.
strength, that courage, that ability to stand where I am and say, yes, I can do this. This is who
Mm,
I am. So the occupational therapy might be bringing some expert stroke knowledge around rehab to somebody, but it's empowering them to do what they need to do to meet their goals.
yeah.
There's It doesn't help to bring in something for 45 minutes that helps somebody to do something and then leave, because you haven't
Empowered
empowered them.
them.
You've
Yeah.
made them more reliant on you,
Yeah.
or you've
Yeah.
shown them they can do something, but only if somebody helps. If
Mm,
you, well, it's the whole teach a man to fish, isn't it?
mm, yeah.
If you help somebody to see that they have the skills to do something themselves, that's that's the magic. Reflexology isn't bringing anything new in. It's empowering the body by giving it the space it needs in that moment to do its own healing.
Yeah. To do its own.
And a lot around Kambo is try not to dive in and save somebody, but give to help them see the strength inside themselves so that they can sit with themselves to do what needs doing in that moment. There's a lot around empowerment.
Mm,
I think I would, going back to your question earlier around wanting to help people or wanting to work with people, I think if I had to try and define a thread, it would be around wanting to help people to feel empowered in themselves.
mm, yeah. 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 It's very admirable, Kate.
Only because that's what I need to do for me.
Yeah. So it's a cycle of healing, isn't it? It's just a cycle of healing, which is really beautiful, you know. It's we heal each other, and I think that's the greatness of humanity. We have that power to heal each other. We just need to tap into it,
Mm.
I think, don't we? More. And then we'll live in a perfect world where everything's perfect. And there's no trouble anywhere. Yeah, but it really is that, isn't it? It's about that reciprocal cycle. We heal each other.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity, indeed. We have a beautiful song about that.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
want to talk about singing?
Yeah, we could. We could. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's talk a bit about what we do together. Me and thee and me.
Firebird. Firebird.
Yeah, so we met through singing, didn't we? We both have a passion for music, singing in particular myself, um, and singing with each other. And this also this really also ties into what we've been talking about that healing process. And we touched on it earlier when you were talking about the diaphragm and the breathing. And when we sing, often in my experience over the years of leading workshops where women come together to sing in harmony, I've had a lot of emotional release from my participants
Mm.
because as we sing, and we relax our abdominal area, or we get into it, we tap into it, we're often tapping into trapped and stuck emotion in there. So I've had, yeah, many a teary eye, which is absolutely fine. It's a great place for release. Singing really
Mm.
can release, can't it? I think it's a very healing process if we allow it, and if we've got the space to do that. It's very powerful.
Yes. Yeah. And as you know, your workshops for me were very eye-opening and very different to anything I'd experienced.
Mm,
I had a childhood with lots and lots of music,
mm,
but very theoretical, very academic,
mm,
lots of different instruments, but lots of exams, lots of
yeah.
sight reading, lots of staying on the lines, following music and
S-
notation. And there's
Structure.
huge,
Yeah.
absolutely, there's huge value in that. And
Mm,
working with you, it's actually made me appreciate the use of that theoretical side of things, which is lovely. But what I hadn't experienced so much was much more of a somatic
mm,
experience with music and with singing. Um, and even being in a group, singing in a circle rather than in lines in a choir,
mm,
singing for ourselves, not singing to an audience. These, like two different worlds. It really was such a really challenging experience for me at first to try and learn by ear. And I didn't understand why you were teaching us by ear. And I seem to remember saying, why can't I just have the music? It would be so much easier. Give me the music, and I've realized since, if you give me the music, I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I can just follow the notation, but think about something else.
it's all in here.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm. You don't get
And
into your body as much.
yeah, yeah.
And
So if I
yeah.
can follow the music and I can write a shopping list in my head, but that's not the point, is it? The point is being present, being there. And even though you might only teach us 4 lines worth of a song and we do it over and over and over, you've got to stay with it. You've got to be present or
Mm.
you wander off. And you've actually got to think about where you are, what you're doing, what you're singing. And it makes you focus on what am I singing about? I only realized in the last couple of years that I never really knew what I was singing about. I was just singing,
Ah,
even
okay.
if I knew the words. Whereas now I listen to the words, even if we're not singing in English.
Yeah.
I'm aware of what we're singing about
And it's
and
a whole other experience.
why we're singing. Yeah, but it's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. And that whole body experience, it really we really do sing with our whole body. And when we do, the experience is for me far more profound. Um, and in my workshops, I am often laughed at and ridiculed lovingly by my singers about my jumping up and down and my physical movements as I teach, but because I'm feeling the song, I'm feeling the noise, the sounds around me, it's coming through me, and I'm
Yeah.
expressing that. I'm very expressive anyway, but it's just an example of how we use our whole body to sing. And because of that, yes, I think it's easy to tap into stuck emotion sometimes, which can be really positive but not very comfortable. But yeah, I think the space that I've created over the years has really been one where I hope people have felt safe enough to come into and bear all of that, whatever's coming up for them, and sing
Mm,
and move stuff through them and enjoy it and benefit from. And you and I have been, yeah, working together to create space as well, haven't we, recently? So that's been exciting. We've been doing our equinox and solstice song celebrations.
yeah.
Been
And
really,
it's so powerful to see people who have had the courage to come along and say, can't sing,
mm,
but I'm going to give this a go.
yeah,
And it's been repressed and repressed, or they've never tried,
mm,
and they have a go, and there is a voice. I always think of, shamans. will diagnose somebody by saying, when did they stop singing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's so profound for me because that's one of the first things I stop doing if I'm feeling low. I don't sing.
Yeah.
I will listen to music and I'll almost try and sing, and I can't. There's no voice there. It just won't come out.
Mm,
I'm too small. I'm too contracted. It can't sing. Singing is this expression, and it just doesn't want to come out. Um, and we have worked with people who don't want to make a sound,
mm,
and for that to gradually open, and then they can hear themselves, and they're being heard by other people, being witnessed, and
mm,
not being judged, but actually coming together in community and in circle and making a noise together.
mm. And making a
We're
beautiful noise. I mean, when we sing in harmony, I'm without doubt that, magic happens. When those harmony notes resonate, something happens in my DNA, I kind of I go zing, and this is the goosebumps that we get. We get
mm,
goosebumps with music.
mm,
When you've got a room full of people singing in harmony, it's so powerful and so
mm.
healing. It's like just waves of healing vibes. I love it. I really love it.
It's all about connection, isn't it? That's what
Yeah.
those goosebumps are. That's a form of connection. You know, we know that humming stimulates the vagus nerve.
Mm,
It's a regulator. It's emotional regulation. I
mm,
recently went on an extraordinary, incredible singing weekend retreat in
mm,
Norfolk, which was just wonderful. It did help that it was beautifully sunny and we were singing on an incredible small holding and then swimming in the sea, and that helped. But I remember looking around, you were talking about your gestures and your actions that you do to help people
mm.
know what the next
Where we're going, yeah.
movement or the words are. Yeah. And we sang a very simple song that we'll probably be doing at our next Equinox event about the forest. And it's quite an earthy song, and it's about destroying the planet and making sure that we save it. And I remember looking around at the 40 of us who were in circle, and everyone was doing these actions about ravaging the forest and the trees and making sure this didn't happen. We've got to save the planet. And everyone was doing the movements, and there was such passion behind it.
Mm,
And it was a shared feeling, a shared experience. Everybody was experiencing this is an extraordinary planet that we live on, and we need to fight for it and we need to look after it through song. And that's where the songs would have come from, as a way of communicating, as a way
mm,
of getting your message across.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, Not to sound good on the radio or be on X Factor or
No. No, I mean
and the
tribes would have their own song, wouldn't they? I think, especially in the Native American
mm,
traditions, I believe they would have their own songs and as a representation of the tribe. And um, yeah, it was. I think that it said also that we sing before we speak as babies, as toddlers. We're not speaking; they're singing.
mm,
There's no formation. It's just sound, noise, vibration, singing.
mm,
So coming back to that, it feels like it's ancient, and uh, I need to come back to it more, definitely. So I try to do it more and to find women that I can sing in harmony with, and men. I tend to attract women mostly. I find over the years not great success in attracting men to come and sing in a group, but we've had a few through. But yeah, to have that experience is very tribal for me. I feel
mm,
it's a tribal family thing. It's when we come together to sing, it's an intimacy. But
mm,
I mean, I haven't done any choral singing with choirs. I've done singing with choirs, but it's been community choirs, not kind of anything that you've done. It's quite different
mm,
background to me, haven't you? Um,
mm,
but I would imagine the singing that you've experienced, as you were saying, it's quite different to what you've experienced with me. There's, is there that connection of a community when you're singing, when you've been singing in your more formal choirs?
Ah, interesting question. And
Or how
it's
does it look?
I
Yeah.
yeah, so I definitely fell away from music. Um, Not listening to music, but singing as much. I kind of fell away from it for a few years, I guess, because there was a real performance aspect to a lot of my training,
Mm.
and I'm in a I'm in a small choir now, and it's not a formal choir, which is lovely. So I haven't done a lot of the choral singing in the last few years.
Mm.
Um, there is definitely a feeling of togetherness, and um, is there one consciousness for a choir, possibly, that you form? But I think the difference is with a group or community choir, it's a group of individuals. So
Mm.
it's this collective of individuals, and within that, there's this is how I experience it. There's an acceptance that it's full of individuals who are all very different and might have different likes and ages and voices, but within this community choir, they all sit there as individuals. Whereas a much more formal choral choir, it's not a collection of individuals that's wanted, it's one entity.
Okay.
So everyone should breathe in the same place. Everyone should put their consonants in the same place. The idea is almost that you're hearing one voice, not many.
Yeah. It's
So there
more
might,
regimented.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so there might be lots of people in it, but the outcome they're trying to create is that they're all doing exactly the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
There isn't room for individuation.
Hmm.
That's not the point of it. Everyone should be wearing the same thing, and they should be coming in at the same time and coming off the notes at the same time and breathing at the same time, or staggering the breathing so it sounds as though there
So you've
isn't
got
any
one
breathing.
note. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
where
yeah,
yeah,
creates a very different outcome, doesn't it? It creates a very different sound, which is, I
yeah,
suppose, whatever you're looking for. Um, but yeah, so sorry, I interrupted you then. Yeah, it's just a different sound and a different outcome, I think is what I see.
yeah. But I suppose a lot of my experience is that the choral work, I've only ever done it for somebody.
Uh-huh.
We've never been singing for the sake of singing.
Mm.
It's always working up to a performance, singing in a concert. There's an audience there. So what you're creating is performance piece
Hmm.
for someone else. Whereas what we're creating in the groups is just what we're creating for us in
Yeah.
that time. We're
Yeah.
not working to rehearse to some future date or something that we're working up to. Um,
Yeah.
and there's a lot less judgment around it. There's a lot less perfection around it, and it's more for the process, not for the outcome.
Yeah. We're not looking for a polished outcome.
Mm,
And I think that, yeah, that's something that I kind of like to try to express when people are interested, showing interest in coming to anything that I put on. It really isn't about a polished outcome. It really is about come along, share your voice with us. Whatever comes out is okay. We'll get it right in the end. We'll fix it. Even if it is the
mm,
wrong note, it's fine. We can get it in there. And yeah, it's about the joy of singing for me. So yeah, our events. Let's talk about our events briefly before we go. Um, so we've been running our equinox and solstice events up in Boxmoor, haven't we?
come along,
Come along, yeah.
everybody.
Join us. Yeah, join us. So the format of the event is really quite singing based, isn't it? And we've often had little creative sessions within the session, and we bring in usually an element of whichever festival is occurring, an equinox or a solstice, and we'll have an altar and we'll have some kind of nod to nature. And yeah, singing workshops, food and community. It's always been very lovely and cozy, but we're swapping it up a bit this autumn equinox. So do you want to say a bit about what we're doing at autumn?
Mm. So, as we were for our summer solstice, we will be based in the Forest School area, so right up in the woods, Boxmoor Trust. We've changed things around so it's a little bit more accessible. So there is a car park very near that we can use, which is lovely, and toilets, most excitingly. And the whole afternoon event will be in the woods. So
With a fire,
with a
hopefully.
fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess one thing is it's not it's not for just for seasoned singers. The focus is singing. So if you don't want to sing, it's probably not the event for you. But if you feel like you can't sing or you're not very good at it, that doesn't matter. The whole point is it's having a go. I think quite a lot of people have come along and been surprised by the fact that they actually can keep apart or
Yeah.
stay in tune
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
end.
And people have
And
made progress, haven't they, over the seasons?
yes,
We've seen people that have
yeah,
never sung before, and they've come along. And then the last session we did, they're singing along, and they've got their harmony part, and they've learnt, they've trained their ear a bit, and they're loving it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And we'll be singing in a forest glade, whatever the weather, which is really magical. I know that Sarah, you find it hard acoustically,
yeah,
being outside.
yeah. We tend to lose the sound a little. It's harder to when we're in a building. We've got the walls to resonate, to bounce back the sound. But when we're outside, often it's a little bit harder to teach. But I think it'll be fine. We're going to have a great time. We're all just going to love singing in the woods together. It's going to be
Yeah.
fantastic. And
I can't think of anything better than having a bird, having a wren suddenly join in, or having a robin tweeting overhead while we're singing.
yeah,
There's something about singing in nature and being listened to by the trees,
mm,
but also what you're singing, what you're releasing is just going straight out into the cosmos,
into the cosmos.
not
Yeah,
being constrained by a building. It is properly open and
yeah. I think because I'm
yeah,
looking for the harmony resonance, it's harder to hear and feel without the acoustic
yeah,
feedback there. But yeah, it's a different experience, so it's going to be something very different for me as a teacher. But I'm looking forward to just being in the space and having a cozy fire and all that autumnal yumminess. All the leaves will be changing colour, and yeah, we're going to try
mm,
to create a mandala, aren't we? We can have a little forage around and create a communal mandala, which we've done before in one of our events, which is really lovely, wasn't it? Really
yeah,
nice. So yeah, we can get
yeah,
creative.
and everybody working together.
Mm,
Yeah, there's something that's so nice about being outdoors is noticing the shift in the seasons.
mm,
Even this morning, I went and did a route in the woods that I haven't done for a few months, and I almost got lost because it looks so different.
yeah.
And I always find that so magical that these spaces that you return to it again and again and again, and it's like they're wearing different clothes
Yeah.
each time.
Yeah,
They've
it
been dressed
changes.
differently.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
absolutely. So we're running that on the 21st of September, 2 till 5. That's a Sunday. And tickets are available now. We're all over the socials anyway, aren't we? So people can pick up on information if they need it, or just get in touch with us if they're interested. Either of us.
indeed. Yeah, and it's going to be the launch of our new venture.
New venture, which I think we could probably do another podcast on, but we can mention it now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about our new venture.
I think our working title is Eco Song
It
Space.
is
Is that
Eco
right?
Song Space. Yeah.
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 So the idea is to have a more regular space, probably a slightly shorter period of time, but in that beautiful forest school area up at the Boxmoor Trust. And there's going to be an eco focus. It's about igniting your passion for the planet. It's about singing songs and possibly drumming and movement and passion around the earth. So we'll be singing earthy songs. There'll be gestures. There might be some mindful walks. They'll probably be taking a particular note of what's going on seasonally at that time in the area. And it's you should be going home with a fire in your belly.
About Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to I mean, we've got a catalogue of songs and we're going to have a look through, see what we can find that's really about singing to the earth, the songs that really
Mm,
pinpoint Mother Nature, the earth, the planet, and attempting connection through those songs to the
mm,
earth beneath our feet and doing what we can to create that connection and enliven it, as Kate says, enliven the passion about that connection that we've got with the earth. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
There will be mud.
There will be mud. Wellies are essential, probably compulsory, and we haven't got a launch date yet, but this will be sometime in late or mid to late autumn, won't it?
Mm,
So we once we've got dates, we'll start to share far and wide. But
hmm
first port of call is our autumn equinox song, woodland song celebration.
Yeah.
So yay,
Perfect.
good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Where can people find you and reach you if they're looking for treatments or if they want to find out more about what you offer?
Thank you. So the website is www.katelouisereflexology.com or www.kambowithkate.com. So both of those pages will link you to the other one if you end up on the wrong one or the
Yeah,
right one, possibly.
yeah,
Um, and there's Facebook and Instagram,
yeah,
same names, but
yeah,
probably easiest if you go through the website or maybe Cheryl will share links and
yeah.
things through this.
We'll do. Yeah, I'll share what we can
So,
on the end of
yeah,
the video and then share it far and wide. Well, thanks for taking your
yeah,
time to talk to me. It's been an
no
absolute
pleasure.
pleasure, and
Yeah,
no doubt we'll do this again soon.
yeah, excellent.
All right, thanks, Kate.